Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I welcome you all in today's session related to strategic management and business policy. Organizations के survival के लिए, long term above average return के लिए, sustainability को ensure करने के लिए, it is very important that they should be planning strategically. And as you all may know that in strategic plan, we need to talk about our direction setting in terms of our mission, vision, and values. We need to talk about our objectives in terms of financial, operational, and strategic concerns. And obviously, we need to talk about the strategy itself and the policies, which would be the general guidelines for making decisions. So in our today's session, we'll be covering different aspects of strategic concerns. We'll be talking about that what strategy actually is, and we'll be discussing that how organizations evolve the strategic concerns. Along with that, we'll be also talking about some historical perspectives in the field of strategy, that how this all subject knowledge evolved, what are the contributing factors. So all these concerns would be, inshallah, covered in our session today. Whenever I think about the strategy, this particular game of chess always echoes in my mind, because right now this is more like a marketplace. This is more like a competition going on. This is more like rivalry. And obviously, there is struggle for survival. And there is an effort to sustain and maintain your position in this particular market field. Sometimes, when we think about marketplaces, there is a very interesting concept which echoes around, and that concept is basically ostrich policy. It is assumed that whenever ostrich is feeling fear, it would hide its head into the sand and would feel and assume as if there is no fear outside. Same metaphor is picked by different experts of the field, and they have evolved the terms like ostrich policy, ostrich effect, ostrich algorithm, and obviously ostrich strategy. But the real world practices are a bit different from this assumption of ostrich. As it is written on the slide, that ostrich policy as a metaphoric expression referring to the tendency to ignore obvious matters and pretend they don't exist. The expression derives from the supposed habit of ostriches to stick their head in the sand rather than face danger. और हमारे गिरदोनवा में भी बहुत से ऐसे आपको एंटरप्रेन्योर्स भी और यूनिट हेड्स नजर आएंगे who live and work like ostrich, who don't upgrade and update themselves, who are afraid from the modern developments, who are not aware about the circumstances which are currently prevailing in the market, who don't give much attention to the customer needs and wants, the changes in customer needs and wants, who have never thought about the paradigm shift which is echoing around them. And they feel as if by sticking their head into the sand would give them a long-term above average return and a sustainable survival. This effect, which is like metaphorically taken from the ostrich, in behavioral finance The ostrich effect is the attempt made by investors to avoid negative financial information. In computer science, the ostrich algorithm is a strategy of ignoring potential problems on the basis that they may be exceedingly rare. But remember one thing, that while the hiding in plain sight strategy might be effective for ostriches, it's not an option in the business world. आप आंखें बंद करके अपना सर्वाइवल इंश्योर नहीं कर पाओगे. So you have to open up, you have to look around, you have to analyze, you have to use your intuition, and then you have to obviously craft and finalize and implement a strategy in a rightful manner so that you could get what you intend to get. The strategy is basically all about the how. The rest of the W's are only in support of creating an environment to discuss this particular how. For example, when we use the expression of what, it would mean what we have to achieve, the objectives, the targets. When we use the expression why is basically the explanation, the justification, what we have to achieve. When we say when would always refer to the time frame. And when we say the word where, it would always talk about the location. But whatever you needed to achieve and whatever justification and explanation you have, and whenever you need to achieve that, and wherever you want to implement the whole situation, एक चीज जो आपको टेक्निकली समझनी और देखनी है, और वो ये है कि how you are going to do it. Objectives and targets are not strategy. Your justification and explanations are not strategy. Your planning is even not strategy. Your timing, the place where you want to implement the things are not actually the strategy. The strategy is only and only how. And how would be interpreted in terms of the positioning. That how would you position yourself in the market, in the eyes of the customer, in the industry members, so that your positioning would ensure that whatever you wanted to achieve would be achievable. So strategy is always coming up with the explanation related to this particular how part. Now, referring to a very important research article, its title is Complexity Theory and Organizations. I have already shared this article on the Google Classroom as well. So let's see what complexity theory has to tell us about this how part of the strategy. It says that complexity theory and organizations, also called complexity strategy or complex adaptive organizations, is the use of study of complexity systems in the field of strategic management and organizational studies. Complexity theory is an interdisciplinary theory that grew out of systems theory in 1960s. It draws from research in the natural sciences that examines uncertainty and non-linearity. Because आपकी जो technically environment है, उसके अंदर चीजें linear form में नहीं चलती. And you would not even be able to calculate all the time the risk. There would be so much uncertainty prevailing around you as well. And as you all may know, that uncertainty is like more than what you call risk. Technically, if I like to define the risk, it would be stating that risk is probability sum total when it reaches to 1 or 100%. That means that you are able to calculate. But in case of uncertainty, the probability sum total is not equal to 1 or 100%. That would mean that you are unable to calculate all the aspects with all of its complexity and all of its depth. So as there are so many variables present in the external environment, so those many variables even are not many a times correlated, either positively or negatively. They sometimes behave unexpectedly, so that all would create uncertainty and a non-linearity in our discussions. So that is the reason that we need to take the help of this complexity theory to understand the phenomena and to understand what strategy is talking about. So complexity theory emphasizes interactions and the accompanying feedback loops that constantly change systems. All right. So while it proposes that systems are unpredictable, they are also constrained by order generating rules. ओके सो हमें बहुत सी चीजों के दरमियान में, वेरिएबल्स के दरमियान में, कंस्ट्रक्ट्स के दरमियान में जो सिंक्रोनाइजेशंस हैं, जो पैटर्नाइजेशंस हैं, जो उनके ओरिजिनलिटीज हैं, उन चीजों को टेक्निकल ग्राउंड्स के ऊपर वो अंडरस्टैंड करना पड़ेगा और पिकअप करना पड़ेगा. Complexity theory has been used in the field of strategic management and organizational studies. Application areas include understanding how organizations or firms adapt to their environments and how they cope with conditions of uncertainty. The theory treats organizations and firms as collections of strategies and structures. Okay, so it's very important theory I'm referring to. The structure is complex in that they are dynamic networks of interactions and the relationships are not aggregations of the individual static entities. राइट इसके हमने कुछ थ्योरी जो है उसको हमने ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल थ्योरी के जो कॉन्सेप्ट्स हमने डिस्कस किए थे उसमें भी हमने कवर किया था. सो दे आर एडेप्टिव इन दैट द इंडिविजुअल एंड कलेक्टिव बिहेवियर म्यूटेट एंड सेल्फ ऑर्गेनाइज कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग टू अ चेंज इनिशिएटिंग माइक्रो इवेंट और कलेक्शन ऑफ इवेंट्स. यहां पर ये लास्ट लाइन जो है ये हमें रेफर कर रही है टू ऑल द डिस्कशन वी डिड इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल डेवलपमेंट. सो दिस पर्टिकुलर थ्योरी आई एम रेफरिंग टू व्हिच इज कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी थ्योरी is basically comprehending the details coming from organizational theory field, organization development context, change perspectives, strategic aspects, organization structural designs and other aspects as well, कि जिन सब के साथ हम एक पूरे holistic system को वो समझ पाए और फिर ये अंडरस्टैंड कर सके कि हमें उसमें किस कदर इन्वेस्टिगेशन, किस कदर एनालिसिस की विद द पैसेज ऑफ टाइम वो जरूरत होगी. This field of strategic management, it has the background which is thousands of years old. The oldest document in this particular concern we are able to find is coming from Sun Tzu. He is the author of this book and the title of the book is The Art of War, which was basically written in Chinese. And in this particular book, Sun Tzu was able to comprehend the strategies of the war. Okay, उसने ये बताया कि एक मैदान जंग में हम किन हिकमत अमली के साथ किन लाहे अमल को यूज करते हुए कामयाबी से हमकनार वो हो सकते हैं. So that was all about this particular book. But centuries after, जब इस बुक को मॉडर्न मैनेजमेंट के लोगों ने पढ़ा तो they came to know कि वो तमाम स्ट्रेटजीज, वो तमाम पर्सपेक्टिव्स जो सुन त्सू ने आर्ट ऑफ वॉर में प्रेजेंट किए थे, दे आर ऑल इक्वली एप्लीकेबल इन द मार्केट फील्ड, इन द मार्केट प्लेस. और मार्केट में भी हमारे जितने भी राइवल्स हैं उनके दरमियान जो कट थ्रोट कंपटीशन है, उनके दरमियान जो राइवलरी है, उनके दरमियान जो सस्टेनेबिलिटी के प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, उनके दरमियान जो शेयर होल्डर के राइट्स को प्रिजर्व करने की बात है, उनके दरमियान जो वेल्थ को मैक्सिमाइज करने की कोशिश है, और इवन सेटिंग अप द डायरेक्शन एंड सेटिंग अप द मिशन, विजन एंड वैल्यूज, ये तमाम वो टर्मिनोलॉजीज थी, ये तमाम वो कॉन्सेप्ट्स थे विच वर ऑल बिलोंगिंग टू द वॉर फील्ड. Even purely the word strategy is even picked from the concerns related to the war. अपनी opening discussion को I would like to link with this book and then gradually I'll be telling you कि इसमें war की किन strategies के ऊपर बात की गई और उन strategic perspectives का modern world में जो business application है वो किस तरीके से evolve हुआ. And with the passage of time, we'll be reaching to two keywords, which would be the basic learning of our today's session. And those two keywords would be the blue ocean strategy and the red ocean strategy. And we'll be able to comprehend that what are these terminologies, how, when, why, where you have to implement these, and what are the complications and what are the requirements, prerequisites associated with these two particular strategies I'm talking about, like which are blue ocean and the red ocean. In this book, The Art of War, Sun Tzu's one statement really was interesting, and it has taken a lot of attention. Sun Tzu said that if you know others and you know yourself, you will not be embroiled in 100 battles. If you do not know others, but you know yourself, you will win one and lose one. And if you do not know others and do not know yourself, you will be embroiled in every single battle. You would lose every single battle. That means that knowing yourself and knowing others, which would be eventually related with the collection of competitive intelligence, which would be linked with the industry know-how, which would be linked with the market dynamics. You need to know what's going on. There is another very famous concern I usually discuss in my classes of strategic management. And I'm going to give you the reference of a novel written by Lewis Carroll. And the title of the novel was Alice in Wonderland. ये novel basically बच्चों के लिए लिखा गया, जिसमें एक बच्ची जिसका नाम एलिस है, वो अपने ख्वाब की दुनिया में गुम हो जाती है. अब उस ख्वाब की दुनिया में she is walking around and she happened to see a cat. अब उसको नहीं पता कि मैंने कहाँ जाना है, तो वो कैट को पूछती है कि ओ कैट, where shall I go? The cat would smile and had replied, it all depends where you want to go. अब एलिस को तो नहीं पता कि उसने कहाँ जाना है, तो एलिस उसको कहती है कि if I don't know where to go, तो the cat would again reply कि if you don't know where to go, then any road will take you there. That means basically what? कि we need to know हम एक्चुअली करना क्या चाहते हैं. लेकिन अगर हमें यही इस बात का ही नहीं पता है, इस बात का इदराक ही नहीं है कि what actually we want to do, where actually we are heading, तो फिर you do anything, so that is what you wanted to do. Okay? Strategic perspective में जब हम चीजों को पिक करेंगे, तो वहां पर चीजों का डिफाइन होना, चीजों का प्लान्ड होना वो जरूरी है. और इसी चीज को हम डायरेक्शन सेटिंग, ऑब्जेक्टिव सेटिंग और फिर उन ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को अचीव करने के लिए स्ट्रेटजी मेकिंग इसके साथ एसोसिएट और कोरिलेट वो करते हैं. Now, coming back to the discussion given by Sun Tzu in The Art of War, another sentence I really loved, and look at the beauty of this particular sentence. And the sentence is, the purpose of war is peace. This is very satiric. This is very metaphorical. This is very interesting expression, that the purpose of war is peace. Just like first the corporations would have destroyed the environment, and then the corporations would talk about corporate social responsibility. Same is the case, that you have to ensure the peace, and that's why you have indulged yourself into a war. So this particular book, which is like The Art of War, written by Sun Tzu in Chinese, is taken up as Chinese military treatise, written by Sun Tzu in the 6th century BC. Military strategies and tactics of its time were discussed in the book. One of the oldest and most successful books on military strategy. Influence on Eastern military thinking, business tactics and beyond. So इसके बहुत से perspectives वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता लोगों ने फिर pick किए. Was translated into many languages, including French and English, and been applied to business and managerial strategies couple of times. And modern जितना भी हमारा strategic frame है, most of the concerns are coming from the ancient knowledge as described by Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu की philosophy का एक और बहुत खूबसूरत जो perspective हमारे सामने आता है, और वो perspective है winning without conflict, and that expression is basically the basis for crafting our blue ocean strategy, and we'll be talking about this in detail in a couple of minutes. But the main idea presented by Sun Tzu was winning without conflict. Its philosophy has several aspects, which are: number one, understanding strategic positions; number two, collecting competitive information and recognizing opportunities; number three, automatically selecting moves that minimize losses and avoid dangerous situations; number four, instantly recognizing the specifics of situations and the responses they require; and number five, getting the most out of each move and securing advantages. अगर हम इन्हीं 5 expressions को भी देखें तो we'll come to know कि आपका जो सारे का सारा strategic management का frame है, it has been covered in these 5 sentences. That you have to secure your strategic position. Either you are a market leader or market follower. You have to come up with competitive information. Then you have to come up with your SWOT. You have to know what are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You need to know that what are your affordable losses. And you need to know that what are the external threats that you need to avoid. You need to understand the perspectives of resource-based view and industrial organizational view, in which either you are going to adopt the strategic frame from inside out approach or outside in approach. Then you need to know that what are the specific situations in which you have to respond according to the market demands and the customer requirements and the circumstances. And obviously you need to move out, you need to move into the market, you have to secure your competitive advantages, and you have to convert your competitive advantages into sustainable competitive advantages. You have to be rare, you have to be costly to imitate, you have to be organized, you have to be robust, you have to be non-substitutable. So these are all the things, all the ideas which were originally presented in concern of a war, a physical war, a battlefield. But gradually, all these situations were evolved into the business world as well. Now, there are different chapters, and every chapter is actually putting in front of us the details of the business lessons. For example, the first chapter of the book is laying plans. And the lesson we get out of it is choose your battles, which means that choose your products and markets, which means that you have to be very much selective about the portfolio with which you want to operate in the industry. So the art of war, as I have picked another sentence from the book, the art of war is of vital importance to the state. Okay, just like we can use the expression of industry as well. So in this particular chapter, Sun Tzu said that laying plans, the calculations explores the 5 fundamental factors. And those 5 fundamental factors are the way, seasons, terrain, leadership, and management that define a successful outcome by thinking, assessing, and comparing. And that's what we are always doing in the business world. By thinking, assessing, and comparing these points, you can calculate a victory. Deviation from them will ensure failure. Remember that war is a very grave matter of state. Okay. Now, these particular 5 factors, which are identified in chapter number 1, the way, the seasons, the terrain, the leadership, and the management. Let me quote these expressions in terms of business requirements. And look at this particular diagram I'm showing you on the screen, that when you have to define your competitive position, there are 5 elements which we have just talked about on the previous slide. And those 5 elements are basically, in this particular diagram, I'm quoting the word heaven, which means trend over time. Then the leader, who is providing the guidance and the care and the empathy. The philosophy, which is corporate culture and mission. The methods with which the organization is being established and the processes are being incorporated. The ground, which is actually the marketplace. And then you have to take the action, position yourself accordingly, know the circumstances and environment, develop your future vision, and then act accordingly again. And this loop would be carried on day in and day out. Okay, so these are all the 5 elements which were actually discussed in terms of the war, but we can translate all these things in terms of the business circumstances and business environment as well. Chapter number 2 is talking about waging war. And in this waging war, the lesson actually given was that timing is essential, maintaining competitive advantage. And through that particular timing, you can also achieve first mover advantage. In this particular chapter, the lesson which Sun Tzu put in his book, it was that the challenge explains how to understand the economy of war and how success requires making the winning play, which in turn requires limiting the cost of competition and conflict. The third chapter is talking about attack by stratagem. And the basic lesson we can learn from this chapter is that know yourself and know the enemy, which means that you need to know what is the competition, how many local, how many national, how many international, how many multinational firms are operating in your particular industry, what is the industry concentration level, and out of that industry concentration level, how can you get your part, which is in business expressions known as PIE, stands for PIE, which stands for potential industry earning. So you need to ensure your potential industry earning out of the industry concentration with which you are operating in particular market. So in this particular chapter, when we again correlated with the battlefield, it says the plan of attack defines the source of strength as unity, not size, and the 5 ingredients that you need to succeed in any war. As I have just told you about those 5 ingredients, now the little different expression is being quoted over here. It said that in order of importance, these 5 ingredients are to be taken as a recipe for success and as a recipe for strategy. And those 5 ingredients are attack, strategy, alliances, army, and lastly the cities, which would also give us the clue that when and why we have to go for offensive tactics, when and why we have to go for defensive tactics. We say that when we have to go for a bypass attack strategy or tactic, when we have to go for guerrilla warfare, when we have to go for encirclement. So all these things are basically the ideas coming from the war. And the philosophy behind the war is obviously narrated by Sun Tzu, and there is no other who has given a more better explanation of all this phenomena. Chapter 4 is talking about tactical dispositions and positioning. और उसमें जो हमारा main lesson है, that is have a unique plan. So you have to be different. It's not that you have to be better and you have to be worse. It is basically that you have to be different. You have to talk about your differentiation, which is going to give you the basis for your returns and survival. So the good fighters, now I'm again referring to the contents of the chapter from the book of The Art of War. It says that the good fighters fight first, which means they put themselves beyond the possibility of defeat and then wait for an opportunity of defeating the enemy. ठीक है, तो अपने आप को मार्केट में आपने पोजीशन इस तरीके से करना है, अपनी प्रोडक्ट एंड सर्विसेज को डिफरेंशिएट ऐसे करना है कि आप would become the first choice of the customer, the first choice of the demand. Okay, so market demand आपको respond करे बकिया सब competition को छोड़कर. So that is what we call strategy, that how you are going to do this. So tactical dispositions में it says that positioning explains the importance of defending existing positions until you can advance them, and how you must recognize opportunities, not try to create them. Okay, so आपका जो differentiation है actually वो इस बात को ensure करेगा कि आप market में किस position पर survive वो कर रहे हो और कब तक वो survive करते रहोगे, जब तक आपने अपनी differentiation को वहां पर maintain रखा. Otherwise, if you are not costed to imitate, so you will be soon run by your competitors. Okay, chapter number 5 is talking about energy and directing. And the lesson we have learned out of it is that the best way to win is not to fight at all. You have to focus upon your resource-based view. You have to focus upon that what are your competitive advantages. You have to focus upon that what are your core competencies. And then you have to say that with your core competencies and competitive advantages, what are the areas, what are the portfolios, what are the markets, what are the domains in which you can best perform. Okay, so the best way to win is not to fight at all. It's not that you have to always call the competition. Sometimes avoiding the competition is the right strategy. So a clever fighter is one who not only wins, but excels in winning with ease. Otherwise, आप competition को beat करने के लिए अपने most of the resources exhaust कर देंगे, and you would not be left with much of the energy and resources to secure your own position in the market, in the eyes of the customers. So energy and directing explains the use of creativity and timing in building your momentum. And then you have to maintain that momentum. And the couple of organizations which lost that momentum in the past, those organizations have become stories of the past. They are no more there. And only the organizations which were able to maintain the momentum, which were able to come up with creativity and innovation, only those are the companies which are having the survival, which are actually operational in the industry in a fruitful way, which are actually maximizing the wealth of the shareholders. Chapter number 6 is talking about weak points and strong illusion and reality. That is the title of the chapter. And the lesson we have learned out of it is disguise your plans. And I have taken few extracts from the book. And the extract I have taken is that whoever is first in the field and awaits the coming of the enemy will be fresh for the fight. And that is what you call first mover advantage. No doubt there would be certain disadvantages as well, but we have to see that in our cost versus benefit analysis, which option is giving us more return, more fruitful outcome. So whoever is first in the field and awaits the coming of the enemy will be fresh for the fight. Whoever is second in the field and has to hasten to battle will arrive exhausted. Okay, so jitni der mein aap leader ko copy karoge, utni der mein leader would be there to come up with more differentiation, and leader would be there to come up with more creativity and innovation. So it's a continuous move. It's a continuous fight that I tell you. So weak points and strong illusions and reality explains how your opportunities come from the openings in the environment caused by the relative weakness of your enemy in a given area. So you have to be very much cautious. You have to be very much vigilant in concerns that what are the circumstances prevailing around you and how you can cope up with the pressures of the uncertainty, with the pressures of the prevailing variables in the external environment, the political pressure, the socio-cultural circumstances, the economic uncertainties. You have to be very much vigilant. You need to know that what are the technological upgradations coming in, what are the ecological factors coming in. So we'll be continuing from the same point in our next session. Please join. Hurry up.